Hey guys, Lo-Fi here, back at it again with another video, this time on the Medicom Mafex Knightfall Bane. And this guy looks incredible. The paint, the detail, everything looks great on this guy. And I've been waiting for this figure for a really long time. I actually got this figure about a month back. The only reason I haven't been able to do any videos is because I've been working a whole lot lately, and I've been finding there is a huge lack of motivation towards posting recently due to that, because work has been super draining. So I'm going to try and be more consistent with my videos. I'm going to try and at least get two out by this week, this one and another one, because I just got the Cabal 3-pack, and I'm very excited about that one as well. And this guy is huge. Compared to my other Mafex figures, other 6-inch scale figures, this guy is tall. Not DC Multiverse Bane tall. That guy is a brick. But I am really excited to cover this guy. And I'm really happy that Medicom has been producing a lot more of these Mafex Batman villains. And I had to get Bane. I know that they've released several others like the Catwoman, Joker, Harley Quinn, whatever. I really wanted Bane because after they dropped the Night Crusader Batman and they dropped this guy, they were like, yeah, we're doing Knightfall, guys. We already made the Azrael figure a while back. Now we're doing this. And I'm like, incredible. Great. I want to get on the ground floor. These guys look awesome. And plus, it's simpler than collecting the entire Hush line because they've pumped out, like, I want to say 10 figures, 10, 12 figures, and figures that range from, like, $90 to $100 a pop. It's a lot all at once. So I try to go small scale. I know I already have a couple of the Hush line already, and I do want to complete that line eventually just because I want more Batman villains. Because they're making a new Ra's al Ghul now. They're making a Tim Drake. Everything incredible. I want my Bat family. I want my Batman villains. Perfect. Now, with all that being said, let's get into Bane. So I'll show you guys the look. I'll bring him in a little closer to the frame. And his shoelaces are painted gray, and his boots are huge. These are some big old boots. And they have treads at the bottom. And there's like a shiny little aspect, and there are some like lined details to the boots. And it looks really, really good. And the pants are pretty basic. They're just like flat, like dark gray / black pants. There's some wrinkling detail all throughout the pants, all throughout the figure, more or less. There's a lot of detail, and you can see more wrinkles on the back and the butt. And you see the bunching at the boots, really nice looking. And then you see like this the belt, and there is some silver like paint on it. It was like a flat silver plastic. I feel like they added some paint brush strokes in there to make it pop more, and I really appreciate that. And moving on to the top of the figure, you can see more wrinkle detail within the fabric of his uniform, and it looks really good. You see how big and muscular this guy is. You see all the sculpted detail. It looks incredible all throughout, and you see that they actually painted hair all over Bane's arms. Oh, you also get like the silver like knuckles on his gloves, on his fingerless gloves, which look really cool. Back to the hair, fellas. See all this like painted hair detail all throughout the arms. Same thing on the other arms and on his back. Part of me is like, they put hair on his back and his arms. Might as well he just decided to go smooth for the front. I believe in the comic books he did have chest hair in the Knightfall storyline. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. What a shame. And then we get more of this detail. And then we get his little wrist pack. You see some like bolted detail right there, like a couple divots. You see the button. I wish they would have painted the button red or something. Just a little more color to make it pop. And then you see a little tube, his tube that connects to his brain. You see the little wrist strap. Goes all the way up into this detailed pack on his head. You see this zipper that goes all the way up the mask. You see all these tubes going into his brain. See more zipper detail in the back, like broken zipper or unzipped right back there behind his mask, and that looks really cool. Speaking of his mask, we get this cool Bane head sculpt that for me was fairly clean. You see a little bit of imperfection real close up, but I think it looks incredible. I really like this Bane head. It's great. It is awesome looking. The next thing I think I'll move on to is accessories. And he comes with a myriad of alternate hands. I believe he comes with 10 alternate hands. So the first set is going to be like these kind of relaxed hands. You can see like wrinkled detail in the palms, and those look really good. And then you get some karate chop or diving hands. I like to think of them as karate chop hands. And I think these look really, really cool. You see like the palms right there again, more relaxed, more choppy. And then you get pointing fingers or venom button fingers. And these are really cool. You get to see like a little bit of like paint imperfection on the thumb right there where the paint didn't go through all the way, but these look really good. And then we get more of the grippy hands, more of the like palm strike attack hands, like clawing hands, I would say, like more actiony hands, and these look really cool too. And then we get like the splayed out hands, like the I'm gonna get you and break your spine hands. And these also look really, really incredible. I like that we have like such an option of alternate hands. I wish he would have come with some actual gripping hands, like to grab. I got this barbell set from a little prize booth from a little carnival that I went to, and it looks really, really cool. And I would have loved to like have him curl some weights. I think that would have been super cool, but unfortunately not. And then he has this alternate head. This alternate faceplate, I should say, because unlike most Medicom figures, this Mafex Bane does not have an interchangeable head. He has an interchangeable faceplate for this more angry head. I think it looks really cool. I like the angry eyes. I prefer this head more, but this head is also a good option. And the way you swap that out is pretty simple. You just get a grip, and you just pop it out. See, some of these heads have like more of a gap at the top of the head. Let's see, right there, there's more of a top head, more of a gap, but you can push it in a little bit more, but it still does leave a bit of a gap sometimes, so I guess it makes it easier to pry it out, but if it was more seamless, I think it would also look pretty good. I might just leave this head on. It looks pretty good. And you can do one of these. Get him into one of these poses. And he is really, really cool looking. And now I'm going to get into the articulation, because you know how this big beefy boy is so big and beefy. How does he move around? Well, I think he moves around great. I'll start off at the top of the head. He looks up about this high, which is pretty decent. And then he looks down about this far, which I think is alright, pretty good. And he has a ball. He has more of like a barbell joint at the top and I believe at the bottom of his neck, so he can have a really good amount of head tilt. He can look around a decent amount. He can't do a full 360 because of the tube. And his arms go out about this high. He has like that rotator cuff in there, so he can move his arm all the way around. It adds like a butterfly jointed motion. His arm can go up about this high. I'm using the Venom tube hand just to show you the restrictions. It can go all the way up, and this arm can just go all the way around because there's no restriction on this arm. Then he has bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows that go in further than 90 degrees, which is good, but his big old biceps prevent him from going in a little more. Then he has those wrist joints that'll go up and down, and then they swing, and then they can hinge and go in and out. And they can rotate, of course. And then you get the torso joints, which are like two kind of ball joints in the top and the bottom of the torso. So that leads him to go back about this far. That's just the top one, which is pretty good. And you do get to see like how it is sculpted all the way up there, and you can kind of see where the ball joint goes in. And then it can go down about this far, which is incredibly impressive. I like that a lot. So you can really hunch over when he's breaking Batman's spine. And then you can rotate up here. He does have a little bit of rotation down there too, but not as much as the top, which is fine. The articulation is really, really good on that torso and the arms. And then for the legs, he does have a drop-down hinge, so he can kick forward about this high, which is really, really good. And he has an upper thigh joint where he can rotate right there. And then he can do the splits about this far, which is incredible for such a big guy. You're a big guy for you. And then he has the double jointed knees that go in about this far, which again is pretty impressive for such a big guy with all of this stuff going on here. And then instead of the traditional joints for the Mafex figures, he just has a ball joint in the ankle, probably for more stability, I would guess. So he can just rock back and forth, rotate, and still go up and down. But it's not the same joint that they use. And then he also has toe articulation. So this guy is fairly well articulated. He comes with a decent amount of accessories. And I just think his presence is really, really good, pretty imposing, you know. I am really, really happy with this figure. And next, I think I'll get into some size comparisons. So I will be right back. Here he is with the Night Crusader Batman. And as you can see, he is much taller than him. Let's put him up. Stand him up a little taller. And then you can kind of see, because this is a standard 6-inch figure, this would be more of like a 7-inch scale-ish, 8-ish inch scale figure. And I think that's really cool. And this one I thought would be very fun. Would have one beefy guy to another. The Dark Knight Returns 2-pack version of Batman. I just thought it'd be fun to show like muscular Batman versus Bane. And he's still taller, but this Batman's about the same amount of beef. Maybe not as much. This Batman didn't do steroids. And I thought it'd be fun to throw Carrie Kelly in there because that's the reason why I wanted to do the 2-pack, just so you can see how small she is compared to this Bane. Look at how tiny she is. It's adorable. Alright, just a few more size comparisons. Here he is with the Mezco Sovereign Knight Batman. I wanted to do this one because of the battle damage shed. And I think these two look good together. I feel like the styles kind of clash a little bit, but I still think it looks cool. Here he is with the Knightfall Batman from McFarlane Toys. Let me stand him up properly. And if you want just like a like kind of a similar scale thing going, they still kind of work. Like maybe not a as jacked version of Bane or like a human Bane without all the venom. That kind of works. I still think they scale pretty decent together. But I prefer my Banes to be a bit more imposing. Finally, just a few more. Here he is with a standard SHF. This is the SHF Super Saiyan Goku. I don't remember which version this is. And then here he is with just a standard Marvel Legends scale figure. Here is the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. Alright. That being said, this has been my review on the Mafex Knightfall Bane figure. This guy's great. A highly recommended figure, especially if you got the previous Batman figure. And he just looks really great with your other 6-inch scale figures. And you can kind of fudge him into your McFarlane stuff. Would I recommend this over the McFarlane 2-pack? I'm not so sure. I really like that 2-pack. That review I made was super fun. And I liked how heavy and how like just imposing he was compared to that Batman. But in terms of overall look and articulation, in terms of comic book accuracy, I would say this is probably one of the better Banes I've ever had. and I think this is probably one of the best Bane figures out there. So I would highly recommend it. Please check out the photos at the end, and I will try to pump out another review for later on this week. Please enjoy, and thanks for watching my stuff. Bye, guys.